Welcome to the Caregivers Like Us podcast, where we are answering the call and serving others. The purpose of this podcast is to provide support, encouragement, resources, and solutions to the caregiving community. My name is Vaughn Foy, also known as the Voice Brander, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host and friend, Miss Coach Christy. We are listening forward to sharing with you. Enjoy. Welcome to the Caregivers Like Us podcast. We are so excited. It's been a while. We are excited to come back and be back with you. My name is Vaughn Foy, also known as the Voice Brander, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Miss Coach Christy. And for those who are new to the show, we've been off for a while, but we finally came back. It's been, let's say, tell us a little bit about the history here. We started Caregivers Care Jar back in December of 2018, yep. In support of caregivers. Yeah, we were actually, a little history on it is because it was called Caregivers Care Jar, it actually started off as Caregivers Tip Jar. And we were going to, just give tips for caregivers. And feedback we got was, it sounds like you're looking for money. Being a jazz musician, tip jar, that's what we thought of. But anyway, so we changed it to Caregivers Care Jar because we wanted to give, caring tips. And we wanted to just share what we can. Mm-hmm. What really started off, how we started pushing record was, at the time it was, well, like you said, December back in 2018. And that had been a year since my mom had her stroke. And you really coached me through the beginnings of me answering the call to caregiving. Yeah. And she had a stroke. I moved my family in with her, and I had no clue. All I knew is that she had a stroke. She was in the hospital. She had to go through rehab, and she needed to come home, and we needed to retrofit the whole and remodel the inside of the house because we didn't know if she was going to walk again and things like that. But you really coached me through my experience and the journey of what was going to come. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, well, 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, you're going to need to have this, and that in order. Power of attorney, paperwork, support services from the state. And through that whole year, finding when mom came home, if I didn't have you as a friend since high school, and if you weren't a caregiver already. Yeah, Jeffrey was a year into being on hospice. Wow. At that time. Yeah. So, for those who don't know and haven't heard the episodes yet, but Jeffrey, her son, she was a caregiver for her sons from birth. Mm-hmm. And by this time, you were like 20 something years in already. Yeah, he was, let's see, in 2017. Mm-hmm. So he was like 25 years old. Yeah. Yeah. And so if it wasn't for your help to give advice, and thankfully I had a friend that had experience, that knew what was going to come about, that knew what was going to happen. And literally everything that you had shared, you even helped me being an advocate in the hospitals, in the skilled nursing and all of these different places, because as a caregiver, you also need, my mom having the stroke, she couldn't talk for herself. I needed to become the power of attorney between me and my brother, what we were, helping out. And really to stand up and give instruction and how to talk to the staff. And that was changing almost every day. Yeah. And just all of those things that I would, if I didn't get the advice and the experience from you, honestly, it would have been very, very, very bad. And a very, very long, unhappy, trail, because we just
didn't know and learned. It was a lot to learn.
It's a lot to learn in a short amount of time. And yeah, like you said, I was 25 years in. So I not only had learned a lot of those tips, but I also had become a respiratory therapist. So being on both sides of the patient's bed, I knew and still know how to maneuver and the right questions to ask and you know, how unmet expectations can come about and how to work through those.
Right. And also not only questions to ask, but also know what your rights are as a patient, what to demand, and how to authoritatively and stand in your rights as a patient or as a person and as an advocate for the patient. All of those things were like new and you had to learn and all of these things. So a year after that, we're in, recording studio, and it's like, your stories, other stories as far as a respiratory therapist being, like you said, you're being on either side of the bed, and end of life situations and how families that don't know and the craziness that, some experience.
Yeah.
And,
the pain and the hurt that all comes.
All of that. And it's like, people need to hear this. I got this, but what if someone doesn't have this advice? So you'll see some of the first episodes, we just pushed record and started talking about how can we help caregivers? How can other people in our situation be helped? I mean, we have tools, we have the equipment. Why don't we push record? And yes, there's a lot of, I guess, there's a lot of caregiving podcast out there, and but everybody has a different angle and has a different, and we haven't found one that comes from, our approach is really being side by side, arm by arm, being the ear and the voice of the caregiver, and allowing stories, resources, services, and different tools that people can use to function forward and joyfully grieve. And so our mission, or not mission, but our approach was that's why we changed it to
Caregivers Like Us. Yeah. Fit more.
Yeah, we know who you are. And it doesn't matter whether it's a parent, a sibling, a friend, a child. You answer the call, or when we answer the call to caregiving, we all go through some type of sacrifice, putting our life to the side at some
it's
level.
Usually the busiest time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It never happens when we're absolutely doing nothing.
Yeah, it's not convenient at all.
Yeah.
Never convenient. And all caregivers go through that. And we recognize that. And hey, if there's something that we could say or have a resource or have someone else that knows.
Sharing stories. I mean, working in the hospital all those years, that's what gets you through to the next, is you hear each other's stories and you can relate. They're relatable. They're authentic. Yes, I totally get that. And we don't always feel so alone, because I know, coming from I spent many years at bedside by myself, missing a lot of outside jobs and family festivities and, holidays, things like that, that were important.
Yeah. Sacrificing things. For me, it was, business. Business was affected. I had my son was a early high school teenager at the time. Family and marriage is affected.
Yes.
My business was, I had to juggle. It was a very time demanding, or it is very time demanding. And
it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
It affects everything.
Everything that, that you're going into. So our thing is, like, caregivers like us, we want to be able to relate, be the eyes and the ears of other caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be the kind of the go-to name when someone answers the call to caregiving, or you know someone that does. You want to be like, oh, have you gone to the podcast or the website Caregivers Like Us?
Yeah.
You're going to find a talk, a resource, a somebody, a program,
a story, something that is relatable.
Yeah, services, a fellow person that is going through what you're going through or close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we are, and that's what our intention is to be.
Yeah.
To be there for you. And one of the things that I forgot about us is, both of our loved ones has passed. And, so we were kind of on pause, if you would, from the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But we were going through different transitions. But now we're back full on what we call post-assignment.
Yeah.
My mom passed. Her son had passed before mom had passed. And now it's like we've been on the side where we answered the call, gone through the journey, and then now post-assignment.
Yeah.
That assignment is over. And so all of the time, attention, focus was on the loved one, and now they're gone. And now it's like, wow, well, who am I? What do I do next?
Right.
What am I supposed to do next? Because it's kind of, you've been doing these things for years, and
right.
serving for years, and prioritizing. And then when they're not, that is no longer.
It's a transition. Mm-hmm. It's a transition, and it's a new learned lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a learned lifestyle, and it's like, what is this lifestyle? What's next?
Right. What's
next? So we're in this position now to where we want to continue to serve. We're committed to serve caregivers like us.
Yeah.
And we're back with more interviews. So we want to hear your stories, your services, your resources, anything that you have. We want, the main thing is to share this with other caregivers or those that have already finished their assignment of caregiving. Mm-hmm. We just constantly want to share the stories.
Yeah. Come share your stories.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear them.
We want to hear them, and we want to share them.
We want to share them, most importantly.
We want to share them. So thanks for your time, and enjoy our episodes from here out. We have some of the retro ones up there, and great stories, but we definitely will have things anew, and we are listening forward to hearing your stories and sharing them with the world and the caregiving community. So continue to answer the call, and continue to fill up your cup so that you can serve from the saucer. That's one of our big things. Sure. Self-care, that you are full so that we can serve from the saucer, not a half or an empty cup.
Yes.
All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.